Peace and love, family. We're back with another one of those helping our people elevate YouTube channel videos. Today we're going to discuss the first kings and builders of Upper and Lower Egypt. And so if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning viewer, as I always say, I appreciate you for helping me build a platform, helping check out the content, the comments are more than motivation. I really appreciate y'all. And so, yeah, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Like I just said, returners, I appreciate y'all. Leave a comment. Tell me what y'all think about the videos, what y'all would like to know more about. Without holding y'all, we're going to jump straight into it. Peace and love, family.
On behalf of Akuno Sent Call for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. H-O-P-E. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
So as I said, family, we're going to discuss the first kings and builders of Upper and Lower Egypt from 3100 BCE to 332 BCE. We're going to talk about the history and their achievements during their reigns. And so I'm going to go into 12 kings from the first dynasty to the 26th dynasty and their achievements, accomplishments, and things that they did. And we're going to start with King Narmer. King Narmer was an Egyptian ruler, traditionally considered the first king of a unified Egypt. He reigned during the late pre-dynamic period during 3100 BCE and is often associated with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. Narmer's most famous artifact is the Narmer palette, a ceremonial stone carving discovered at Hercunopolis, which depicts him wearing the crown of both Upper and Lower Egypt, symbolizing the unification of the two regions. Narmer is believed to have founded Egypt's first dynasty, marking the beginning of the pharaonic rule. Some scholars equate him with Menes, another semi-legendary figure credited with uniting Egypt, though this remains a topic of debate. Narmer's reign set the foundation for a long-lasting Egyptian civilization, establishing centralized governance and religious institutions. King Dozier, a famous pharaoh of ancient Egypt, 3rd dynasty, Dozier is particularly well known for his construction projects, especially the steps pyramids at Saqqara, which was designed by the vizier and architect Amenhotep. The step pyramid is considered the first large-scale stone building in history and a precursor to the later smooth-sided pyramid like those at Giza. Dozier's reign marked a significant advancement in agriculture, technology, and centralization of power. His pyramid complex, which included courtyard, temples, and other structures, became a template for future Egyptian monumental constructions. Dozier also appeared to have strengthened Egypt's border and engaged in foreign expeditions, contributing to the wealth and stability of the kingdom. King Huni was the last pharaoh of Egypt's 3rd dynasty, ruling around 2600 BCE. Little was known about his reign, but he is believed to have laid the groundwork for the later developments of the Old Kingdom, particularly during the 4th dynasty. Huni may have been responsible for an architectural project, including possible starting the construction of a pyramid at Medium, which was later completed or significantly altered by his successor, Sneferu, the first king of the 4th dynasty. While there is limited information about Huni's reign compared to more famous pharaohs, he is often credited with furthering the trend of pyramid building and consolidating Egypt's political and economic strength during his rule. Khufu, also known as Cheops in Greek, was the second pharaoh of Egypt's 4th dynasty. He is most famous for commissioning the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and the largest of all the pyramids. While Khufu's pyramid remains an architectural marvel, not much is known about his personal life or rule. Ancient sources describe him in different ways. Egyptian records like the Western Papyrus present him as a wise ruler, while Greek historians like Herodotus portray him as a harsh and tyrannical king. However, much of what Herodotus wrote came centuries after Khufu's reign and is considered more a myth than facts. Khufu's pyramids were originally about 146 meters, 480 feet tall, made from millions of limestone blocks. Its construction still fascinates historians and engineers due to the scale, precision, and logistical organization required to build such a monument. It was part of a larger complex that included smaller pyramids for queens, mortuary temples, and boat pits. Khufu's legacy mainly rests on his monumental building projects, and although few architectures from his reign survive, the Great Pyramid stands as a testament of his ambition and the power of the Old Kingdom. Menkaure. Menkaure was a pharaoh of the Egyptian Fourth Dynasty ruling around 2490 to 2472 BCE. He is best known for building the third and smallest pyramid in Giza, along those of his preceders, Khufu, his grandfather, and Khafre, his father. Despite being smaller than the pyramids of Khufu and Khafre, Menkaure's pyramid is still an impressive feat of ancient engineering, originally standing at about 65 meters, 213 feet tall. Menkaure's reign is often associated with justice and benevolence, as later sources describe him as a more compassionate ruler compared to his predecessors, who were sometimes portrayed as harsh. Menkaure's pyramid complex included elaborate mortuary temples, and he was likely buried in the pyramid itself. Alongside his pyramid are smaller pyramids for queens, and he is also remembered as the high-quality statues that depicted him, such as the following Menkaure and Queen Khamenetbe II statue, which highlights Egyptians' artistic achievements in sculptures. While the specifics of Menkaure's political and military activities remain unclear, his reign is seen as a continuation of the power and prosperity of the Old Kingdom, maintaining the dynasty focused on monumental construction and centralizing power through religion and statecraft. Amenhotep II was a significant pharaoh of Egypt's 11th dynasty, reigning around 2061 to 2010 BCE during the First Intermediate Period and the beginning of the Middle Kingdom. He is best known for reuniting Egypt after a period of political fragmentation, civil strife, and economic decline that followed the collapse of the Old Kingdom. Amenhotep II's greatest achievements was ending the conflict between Upper and Lower Egypt, marking the start of the Middle Kingdom, often regarded as the renaissance of Egyptian culture, politics, and economic strength. He reigned from the capital of Thebes, modern Luxor, and expanded Egypt's border through a military campaign, particularly against the nomads in the Sinai and the region of Nubia, securing the kingdom's southern borders. His most famous architectural legacy is his mortuary temple at Del el Bahari, which served as an inspiration for later construction, later including Hatshepsut's famous temple in the same area. Amenhotep's temple was unique for combining traditional pyramid elements with rock-cut tombs, reflecting the evolving style of the Egyptian funerary architecture. Amenhotep II is celebrated as a stabilizing figure who restored order to Egypt and laid the foundation for the Middle Kingdom's prosperity. His reign is remembered for cultural revival, the centralization of royal power, and the reestablishment of strong religious institutions. Thutmose III was one of ancient Egypt's greatest warrior pharaohs, ruling during the 18th dynasty. Often called the Napoleon of Egypt for his military prowess, he expanded Egypt's empire to its largest extent, making it a dominant power in an ancient Near East. He was the sixth pharaoh of the dynasty, and his reign is often regarded as the height of Egypt's imperial power. Thutmose III ascended as the throne of the child after the death of his father, Thutmose II, but for the first 22 years of his reign, his stepmother and aunt, Hatshepsut, acted as co-regents and effectively ruled as pharaohs. After Hatshepsut's death, Thutmose III assumed full control and embarked on a series of military campaigns, most famously in Canaan and in Syria, where he fought a coalition of rebellious city-states led by the king of Kadesh. His Battle of Megiddo, around 1457 BCE, is one of the earliest well-documented battles in history and was a major victory for Egypt, marking the beginning of Thutmose III's dominance over the Levant. In total, Thutmose III conducted at least 17 military campaigns, and he brought immense wealth and resource to Egypt through tribute from conquered territories. His empire extended from Nubia in the south to the Euphrates River in the north. Beyond his military success, Thutmose III was also a patron to the art of architecture. He contributed to the expansion of the Karnak temple complex and built many monuments and temples across Egypt. His reign is characterized by political stability, economic prosperity, and cultural achievements. Amenhotep III was one of ancient Egypt's most prosperous and influential pharaohs, ruling during the 18th dynasty from around 1391 to 1353 BCE. His reign marked a high point of political stability, wealth, and artistic achievement, often referred to as the Golden Age of the New Kingdom. Amenhotep III is renowned for his extensive building projects and for maintaining Egypt's vast empire without engaging in major military campaigns, which set him apart from many other warrior kings of the time. So a few key aspects about Amenhotep III's reign. Amenhotep III's reign was characterized by peace and prosperity. Rather than expanding Egypt's border through warfare, he focused on diplomacy, particularly through marriage alliance with neighboring powers such as Mitanni, Babylon, and the Hittites. These marriages helped strengthen Egypt's influence across the ancient Near East and kept relations stable. His monumental constructions. Amenhotep III's building projects were immense. He constructed and expanded many temples and monuments, leaving a lasting architectural legacy. His most famous projects include the Colosseum Menon, two massive stone statues that once stood at the entrance of the mortuary temple in Thebes, modern-day Luxor. The Luxor Temple, which he largely constructed a significant expansion to the Karnak Temple complex, and the Markata Palace, his grand residence on the west bank of the Nile River near Thebes. His religious innovations. Amenhotep III promotes the worship of Amun-Ra, Egypt's chief deity at the time, and enhanced the grandeurs of his temples. However, near the end of his reign, there was a gradual rise in the prominence of the sun god Aten, a precursor to the religious change his son Akhenaten would later implement in the form of monotheism. His architectic flourishing. Amenhotep III's reign is often regarded as the height of Egyptian art. His era produced some of the most refined and detailed sculptures and jewelry and relief in Egypt's history. Art from his time depicted gods and royalty in an idolized, serene manner, showcasing the wealth and sophistication of the courts. Diplomatic correspondence. The Amarna letter, a collection of diplomatic correspondence found later at Akhenaten, provide insights into Amenhotep III's relationship with foreign powers. These letters show how he communicated with other rulers in the ancient Near East, emphasizing Egypt's power and prestige. His legacy. Amenhotep III's reign was so prosperous that he declared himself a god during his lifetime. His peaceful diplomacy and monumental architecture left a lasting mark on Egypt. His son, Amenhotep, later known as Akhenaten, will go on to make significant religious changes, but Amenhotep III's rule is remembered as a time of grandeur and stability. Ramses I was the founding pharaoh of Egypt's 19th dynasty, ruling for a short period from 1292 to 1290 BCE. Despite his brief reign, he played a crucial role in establishing one of Egypt's most powerful dynasties, which would produce some of the most famous pharaohs, including Seti I, which was his son, and Ramses II, his grandson. Key facts about Ramses I. Military and administrative background. Ramses I came from a non-royal background, but was a highly skilled military commander and administrator under Horemheb, the last pharaoh of the 18th dynasty. Horemheb had no heirs, and as he sought to stabilize Egypt after the chaos following Akhenaten's religious revolution, he appointed Ramses as his successor. This decision marked the beginning of the 19th dynasty. His short reign. Ramses I's reign lasted about 2 years, which is among the shortest of any Egyptian pharaohs. Given the brevity of his rule, he did not have time to embark on major building projects or military campaigns. However, he began restoring traditional Egyptian religious practices after the upheaval caused by Akhenaten's focus on Antonism, the worship of the sun disk Aten. Restoration of religious order. Ramses I continued Horemheb's policies of restoring the power of the priesthood of Amun, reestablishing the tradition of religious order that had been diminished during the Akhenaten's reign. This helped solidify his legacy as a stabilizing figure. His succession and legacy. His son, Seti I, succeeded him and is often credited with bringing Egypt back to a period of military strength and architectural grandeur. Seti I completed some of the projects that Ramses I had started, including his father's mortuary temple. The 19th dynasty, thanks to Ramses I's foundation, became one of Egypt's most illustrious periods, with Ramses II, Ramses the Great, becoming one of the most celebrated pharaohs. Tomb and mummies. Ramses I was buried in the Valley of Kings in KV 16. His tomb was relatively modest compared to those of later pharaohs, reflecting the short duration of his reign. His mummy was discovered in the late 19th century, but was later taken to a museum in Niagara Falls, Canada. In 2003, the mummy was repatriated to Egypt. His significance. Though his reign was short, Ramses I's ascension marked a significant tradition in Egypt's history. He laid the groundwork for the 19th dynasty successes, which were fully realized by his son Seti I and grandson Ramses II, two of Egypt's most powerful rulers. Ramses II. Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great, is one of ancient Egypt's most famous and powerful pharaohs. He ruled during the 19th dynasty from 1279 to 1213 BCE for an extraordinary 66 years. His reign is considered one of the most prosperous and influential periods in ancient Egypt history. Ramses II is renowned for his military exploits, monumental building projects, and for declaring himself a living god. Some of the key aspects of Ramses II's reign. His military prowess. The Battle of Kadesh, one of Ramses II's most famous military campaigns, was against the Hittites at the Battle of Kadesh in 1274 BCE in modern-day Syria. Although both sides claimed victory, it is considered one of the largest chariot battles in history. Ramses II portrayed the battle as a great triumph in his monumental inscriptions. Following the battle, Ramses eventually signed the first known peace treaty in history with the Hittites' king, Hattusi III. This treaty marked the end of hostilities and established a long-lasting alliance between Egypt and the Hittites. His monumental constructions. Ramses II is also called the Great Builder because of the numerous temples, statues, and cities he commissioned. Some of his most famous architectural projects include the Abu Simbel, a rock-cut temple at Abu Simbel in Nubia, are among Ramses II's most iconic monuments. The larger temple is dedicated to himself, with 4 colossal statues at the pharaoh of the entrance, and the smaller one is his beloved Queen Nefertiti's. He added to the Karnak temple complex, including the grand hypostyle hall, and completed the Luxor temple, where he left statues and inscriptions. His diplomacy and peace. Besides the Hittite treaty, Ramses II is known for maintaining stability through diplomacy with other great powers of the time, such as the Mitanni and Babylonians. His long reign allowed Egypt to flourish, and the empire's border remained secure and prosperous under his rule. His family life. Ramses II had a large family with over 100 children with numerous wives. His primary and most beloved wife was Queen Nefertari, who was honored with the magnificent tomb in the Valley of Queens and a temple beside his at the Abu Simbel. His sons and daughters were also involved in administration and military campaigns, and some became high-ranking officials. His deification. During his lifetime, Ramses II declared himself a living god, and he was worshipped as a deity in temples throughout history. His divine status was reflected in his numerous statues and inscriptions, where he is often shown alongside the gods of Egypt, reinforcing his connection to them. His legacy. Ramses II is remembered as Ramses the Great for his ability to rule Egypt with strength and grandeur for over 6 decades. His building projects, military campaign, and contributions to peace throughout diplomacy made his reign one of the most storied periods of ancient Egyptian history. He ensured that his name and image would endure through time, leaving behind a legacy that still captivates historians and tourists alike today. King Taharqa. King Taharqa was a significant figure in ancient Egyptian and Nubian history, reigning during the 25th around 690 to 664 BC. He was a pharaoh of Nubian origins, and his rule is notable for several reasons. The Nubian dynasty. Taharqa was a part of the Nubian dynasty that ruled over Egypt, which was established by his progenitor Pi. The dynasty marked a period of renewed power for Egypt after a time of fragmentation. His military campaign. Taharqa is known for his military campaign in the Near East, particularly against the Assyrians. He attempted to maintain Egypt's influence in the region and even led campaigns into Palestine. Cultural contributions. His reign is marked by significant cultural and architectural achievements. Taharqa commissioned many building projects, including temples and monuments, in both Nubia and Egypt. The Temple of Karnak and Luxor contain structures attributed to him. Religious role. Taharqa was a patron of the gods, and his reign saw the continuation of traditional religious practices. He is often associated with the worship of the god Amun. His legacy. His legacy is reflected in later historical texts, and he is often remembered as a powerful and influential ruler who sought to unite and strengthen Egypt and Nubia. Taharqa's reign came to an end as Assyrian power grew, leading to challenges that ultimately contributed to the decline of the 25th century. King Psamtik, also known as Psamtik I, was an important ruler in ancient Egypt who reigned during the 26th century from around 664 to 610 BC. Some key points about his life and legacy: his restoration of uniting. Psamtik I is credited with uniting Egypt after a period of foreign domination, particularly from the Assyrians and the Nubians. His rise marked the beginning of the Said period, named after the city of Sais, where he was from, a time characterized by the resurgence of native Egyptian culture and power. Military and political power. Psamtik I employed various strategies to consolidate his power. He allied with the Assyrians against the Nubians and gradually expelled foreign rulers from Egypt, solidifying his position as pharaoh. His cultural renaissance. His reign initiated a cultural renaissance in Egypt, which saw a revival of art, architecture, and religion. Psamtik I and his successors invented a monumental construction, including temples and statues, reflecting traditional Egyptian styles. Economic prosperities. Psamtik I's rule led to economic stability and growth, with an emphasis on trade and agriculture. He revitalized the economic, fostering trading relations with neighboring regions. Religious reforms. Psamtik promoted the worship of the god Amun, and his reign saw the construction of significant religious sites, contributing to the revival of traditional Egyptian religious practices. His legacy. Psamtik laid the foundation for the subsequent ruler of the 26th dynasty, which is often considered a high point in ancient Egyptian history. His descendants continued to rule until the Persian conquest in 525 BC. Overall, Psamtik I is remembered as a unifier and restorer of ancient Egyptian culture, laying the groundwork for the flourishing period in ancient Egyptian history. Also, I want to mention before I close out, y'all heard him mention the god. They worship the gods Amun, Amin. And what is it the church folk always say at the end of every prayer? Amen. And so if you don't know about the Egyptian god Amen or Amen, Amun, Amen-Ra, the sun god, for the Lord God says, I am a sun and a shield. I believe that's in Psalms somewhere in there. But all this came from the ancient Egyptians. And so if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment if you are already familiar with the ancient Egyptians and the uniting of Egypt. Drop a comment if you did or you didn't know about the sun worshiping and our connection to nature. Drop a comment if you like the content. And I'll catch you on the next one, family. Peace and love.
On behalf of Horus and Thoth, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. HOPE. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.